On June 15, 1859, a man walked into his garden on San Juan Island and found a pig eating his potatoes. This was not the first time. The pig had been coming into his patch again and again, tearing up the crops and digging through the soil like it owned the place. This time, the farmer snapped. He raised his gun and shot it. That one gunshot should have stayed a small farm argument. Instead, it nearly started a war between the United States and Great Britain. The farmer was an American settler named Lyman Cutlar. The pig belonged to a British employee of the Hudson's Bay Company, a powerful trading company that ran a huge sheep farm on the island. So, when Cutlar killed the pig, he was not just killing an animal, he was setting off a much bigger conflict that had already been growing for years. Because San Juan Island was not just any island. Both the United States and Great Britain claimed it, and both believed they were right. The problem started in 1846 when the two countries signed the Oregon Treaty. The treaty said the border would go west along the 49th parallel, then continue through the middle of the channel between the mainland and Vancouver Island. Around the San Juan Islands, there were two possible channels, Haro Strait on the west side, Rosario Strait on the east side. The islands sat between them, so both sides read the same treaty, picked different water, and claimed the same islands. That unclear border turned San Juan into a place full of tension. The British side, through the Hudson's Bay Company, tried to strengthen its claim by building Bellevue Sheep Farm on the island. It was not a small outpost, it was a large farm with thousands of sheep. Then, American settlers started moving onto the same island and claiming land too. The British saw them as trespassers. The settlers saw themselves as rightful Americans. Every month, things got more tense. And one thing matters here if we want the story told honestly. This land was not empty. Native peoples had already lived across this region long before British and American officials started arguing over borders and treaties. This was two empires fighting over land that already had people on it. By the summer of 1859, the island was already ready to explode. Then, the pig walked into the potatoes. After the shooting, the pig's owner demanded payment. Cutlar offered money, but the argument got worse. British officials threatened to arrest him. That changed everything. Now, it was not just about a pig. Now, it was about whose rules counted on the island. The American settlers panicked. They were outnumbered and far from help, and they believed the British might force them off the island. So they did not just complain. They asked the U.S. Army for protection. The request reached General William Harney, the U.S. commander in the region. Harney already had a hard anti-British attitude, and he did not treat this like a local problem. He treated it like a chance to put an American flag on disputed land. He sent U.S. troops to San Juan Island under Captain George Pickett, the same George Pickett who later became famous in the American Civil War. Pickett landed with about 64 men on July 27, 1859, and set up camp near Griffin Bay, close to the British sheep farm. Now picture the scene. American troops on the island, British property nearby, a disputed border, a dead pig in the middle of it, and no one willing to back down. The British governor on Vancouver Island, James Douglas, was furious when he heard American troops had landed. He ordered Royal Navy Captain Geoffrey Hornby to remove them, but he also told him not to start a shooting war if he could avoid it. Hornby arrived with warships. Then, more ships came. And just like that, it was no longer a farm dispute. It was a military standoff. Pickett refused to leave. He asked for more troops. More American soldiers came. More cannons came. Within days, the island looked like a small war zone waiting for the first shot. This is the part people forget when they hear the name Pig War. It sounds funny at first, but it was not funny anymore. If one nervous soldier fired by mistake, this could have turned into a real battle between two major powers, and the British had the advantage at sea. They could have crushed the small American force early, but they did not. Hornby held back while waiting for higher command. Then, Rear Admiral Lambert Baines arrived and made the most important choice in the whole story. He refused to turn the crisis into war. He reportedly did not want two great nations fighting over what he called a squabble about a pig. That one decision may have saved the entire situation. The island stayed tense, but no one fired. And while officers on the island were making things worse, readers in Washington and London were only starting to realize how serious this had become. Once the U.S. government understood the danger, President James Buchanan sent General Winfield Scott to stop the crisis. Scott had more authority than Harney and better judgment than Pickett. He came west, calmed things down, and negotiated directly with Governor Douglas. The solution was strange, but it worked. Both countries agreed to share the island with a joint military occupation until the border could be officially settled. Not for a week, not for a month, for years. American troops stayed at what became American Camp. British Royal Marines later set up English Camp on the other side of the island. Two rival flags, two rival military camps, one disputed island, and somehow no battle. That is what makes this story so good. It starts like a joke, then turns into a test of self-control. The officers on the ground almost pushed it too far. The admirals and diplomats pulled it back. And the pig, the part everyone remembers, was only the trigger. The real problem was the border. The treaty was unclear. The map was unclear. Settlers kept moving in. The Hudson's Bay Company was protecting its claim. Military pride made everything worse. Then one animal walked into the wrong garden. The standoff lasted much longer than most people think. The shooting happened in 1859. The final border decision did not come until 1872. A neutral outside ruler, Kaiser Wilhelm I of Germany, was chosen to help decide the border. In October 1872, the decision went to the United States, using the Haro Strait Line. After that, the British left English Camp, and the last American troops left in 1874. So yes, a pig nearly started a war. But that is only the headline. The real story is how close two empires came to fighting because of a bad border. Proud men on the ground, and nobody wanting to look weak. One garden, one pig, one gunshot, and for a moment, that was enough to put Britain and America on the edge of war.